safely meet up in person whenever possible.
Would you like a house blessing? A hand fasting? Let us know. Do you mind being filmed and a part of our journey? We are excited to have you. A brief but necessary background.
For thousands of years, witches have been held back by society and presented as evil villains through films and religious texts. These same institutions have condemned our brothers and sisters, our very ancestors, while simultaneously profiting off the grief and usurping pagan traditions and practices. As a result, many present-day witches remain in the broom closet, lest they are shunned by loved ones or left unemployed. This has left much of the pagan community muted. Witchcraft today is exhibited via Hollywood interpretation and Halloween gimmickry, leaving authentic witchcraft both feared and misunderstood, and thus avoided by many. As our spiritual path has been part of our life journey, we are compelled to stand up and be a voice for our pagan brothers and sisters.
Grymm is our dedicated and faithful storykeeper whose magic is tied to the land. This pagan Mad Hatter walks us through stories of depravity, debauchery, murder, crime, and mayhem prevalent in society in the turn of the century America. He is father to the Coven and our guide to the paranormal past. With many years as a haunted historian, ghost tour operator, and lifelong researcher of the occult, he's looking forward to reconnecting with sacred places along the way and sharing those experiences with you.
Gussy Dup is a hereditary Grey Witch who balances the energy of light and dark magic. Mother of Coven Dup, Gussy is a powerful oracle and underworld communicator with clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient abilities. She's the medium, counselor, and healer of the group and is responsible for most Coven Dup invocation rituals. She is looking forward to this life change as it will allow her time to teach more and work on the long-awaited Purple Door Tarot deck.
The final plea.
Our plan is multifaceted and rather open-ended, but we are guided in this fluid direction as we share our knowledge and understanding with any person who is curious enough to ask, and with the many witches we will meet along our journey. We would love you to come along with us on this evolution. Will you consider contributing $1 or more if you have it to spare to keep our Purple Door active and accessible to all who ask for entry? We appreciate anything that you can offer, and if you are unable to donate at this time, we ask that you please share. Word of mouth is our favorite method of advertising after all. Be a part of this, a part of us.
In the meantime, we'll keep the porch light on at the Purple Door and the kettle of brewing on the bus for a good cup of tea and maybe even a tea leaf reading. Just ask. Thank you for being a part of our wonderful community, as well as for your support.
Come to the house at the end of the lane with the purple door. When the sun goes down, there you will find the help you need.
I love cranberry juice.
I don't blame you. We invite you to take part in a witchy spiritual journey with us.
Join us on our adventure across the country as we uncover the twisted tales of generational hauntings, community shadows, and family curses bound to the land. We are just two witchy folks committed to spiritual growth with an evolving group of fellow coven members who also love to help the community and give back to the land. We're in process of moving out of our house and into our bus-turned witchy caravan. Soon we'll start our journey across the country to connect with fellow witches and seekers, and we need your help.
A little twisted history and a purple door. Until a little over a year ago, we both had tourism industry jobs in our home base of beautiful Port Townsend, Washington. As owners of Twisted History Tours, we offered haunted history walks, EVP spirit sessions, seances, fireside storytelling, tarot parlors, open circle rituals, and even a grand witches' ball. We were featured on shows such as Haunted Towns and Seattle's Evening Magazine, to name a few. We loved our life and it loved us. Our day jobs allowed us the time to nurture into existence a worldwide network of witches on Facebook in 2013. Since then, our beloved Purple Door offers educational support, fellowship, and counsel to all who knock.
Within this constant community, we have been honored to offer spiritual seekers a haven to learn about themselves. With the help of thousands of witches, our vision expanded, as did our circle. Eventually, Covened Up was founded along with a new mission.
The vision and mission sparks another idea. We began witnessing the need for physical healing and spiritual evolution on a broader scale. We began observing the necessity for real education about witchcraft, paganism, heathenry, and Wicca in the modern world. Soon others, healers, shamans, herbalists, performers, began to share the dream that a traveling medicine caravan of witches around the country could provide just what we envisioned.
This energy caught the attention of a few dear people in the film industry who believe in what we do. The idea emerged to create a series of 1-hour episodes featuring our family of witches that take our audience on an immersive dive into real witchcraft and occult like never before. In 2020, we plan to travel across the country in our medicine show caravan, searching for generational hauntings and those affected by spells gone wrong. Then COVID hit the world, and it hit us as well. Our TV series prospects were shut down. The idea was placed on hold. With the lockdown in place, we started to devote ourselves full time to keeping the Purple Door open at a time when so many were knocking. Spirituality is alive and blooming, and we are proud to be part of this resurgence.
In 2021, we are starting a new endeavor to take the Purple Door with us on a Twisted Travels road trip featuring haunted forests, cemeteries, unsettling legends, and creepy lore. Yes, we will continue to observe state guidelines regarding the pandemic and will continue doing everything in our ability to stay safe along the way. We will travel across America and who knows, maybe even further. The reasons why and how you can help.
We take this leap of trust in ourselves and our community as we strive to continue keeping our Purple Door open to all who seek spiritual guidance, healing, and community. This will be our livelihood, and we invite you to follow along on our next best step, our journey. We appreciate any contributions to help maintain our school bus as our new home base for Covened Up and the Purple Door. As we travel, sharing what it means to be a witch, people that work closely with the elements and do not use religion to define his or her spiritual path.
We seek to learn about regional traditions, stories, and remedies specific to your neck of the woods. In this way, our ever-evolving grimoire will be added to as we traverse the country and share with each of you. Your monetary contribution will go towards renovating our bus, traveling funds, and offering our spiritual services to those in need. Once funded, we will expand our monthly newsletters, weekly live streams on Facebook and YouTube to continue inspiring others and answering any curiosities one may have regarding our path. If you see our witchy bus in your area, please reach out so we can safely meet up in person whenever possible.
Would you like a house blessing? A hand fasting? Let us know. Do you mind being filmed and a part of our journey? We are excited to have you. A brief but necessary background.
For thousands of years, witches have been held back by society and presented as evil villains through films and religious texts. These same institutions have condemned our brothers and sisters, our very ancestors, while simultaneously profiting off the grief and usurping pagan traditions and practices. As a result, many present-day witches remain in the broom closet, lest they are shunned by loved ones or left unemployed. This has left much of the pagan community muted. Witchcraft today is exhibited via Hollywood interpretation and Halloween gimmickry, leaving authentic witchcraft both feared and misunderstood, and thus avoided by many. As our spiritual path has been part of our life journey, we are compelled to stand up and be a voice for our pagan brothers and sisters.
Grymm is our dedicated and faithful storykeeper whose magic is tied to the land. This pig and Mad Hatter walks us through stories of depravity, debauchery, murder, crime, and mayhem prevalent in society in the turn-of-the-century America. He is father to the Coven and our guide to the paranormal past. With many years as a haunted historian, ghost tour operator, and lifelong researcher of the occult, he's looking forward to reconnecting with sacred places along the way and sharing those experiences with you.
Gussy Dup is a hereditary Grey Witch who balances the energy of light and dark magic. Mother of Coven Dup, Gussy is a powerful oracle and underworld communicator with clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient abilities. She's the medium, counselor, and healer of the group and is responsible for most Coven Dup invocation rituals. She is looking forward to this life change as it will allow her time to teach more and work on the long-awaited Purple Door Tarot deck.
The final plea.
Our plan is multifaceted and rather open-ended, but we are guided in this fluid direction as we share our knowledge and understanding with any person who is curious enough to ask, and with the many witches we will meet along our journey. We would love you to come along with us on this evolution. Will you consider contributing $1 or more if you have it to spare to keep our Purple Door active and accessible to all who ask for entry?
And
I understand.
just make sure I have everything the way it's supposed to be. Are we seen? Are we heard? Yakety yak yak.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Are you out there? Where are you, Grymm?
I am here.
There you
Let me
are.
turn the volume down over here. Just like so. So we are now officially streaming from YouTube for
Really?
the first time in I don't know how long. Months and months.
Right. So, and this would be like the second time.
Yes.
Our first time was a failed attempt.
It was a failed attempt, so we're doing it again here. We've got to give you guys all a few minutes to get logged in, figured out where we're at, because we are not on the other platform from which we usually stream from. We've posted all the appropriate links, added all the right descriptions.
Is that what you've been up to the last half hour or so?
Yes.
Hats off to you, Grymm.
Well, thank you.
Well done.
Let's see if it works. But we have no way of knowing.
And we've got 3 concurrent viewers, and we're probably one of them.
No, actually, we're not. Unfortunately, not everybody's going to get the message that this is where we're streaming from today. So what we'll do when we're done is let the video process through, and I'll probably just repost it to Facebook.
That's a good idea.
So it'll be 7-ish live-ish.
7-ish live-ish. Well, you know, that seems just about perfect then, doesn't it?
Just a second. Let me change one more setting here. Let's see if this helps. Here. There. Here. Enable live chat.
What are you doing?
I'm just making sure that we have everything enabled so people can communicate with us while we're waiting for others to log in.
Oh.
But somebody there by the name of S. Brown says, hello! Hello!
Hello, S. Brown! Hey, could you add some more hot water?
Yes, I can. Can you hear and see us okay? Did I get the YouTube settings done well enough?
It says it's not responding or something.
What's not responding?
YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
So there may be a little bit of a buffer.
Oh, boo. Boo!
Boo! I'll go get you some water while you maybe set up what we're talking about a little bit after we find out if we're being seen and heard. I'm just waiting to see a comment pop up.
I just see the S. Brown one, don't I? Mm-hmm. Well, gosh. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Okay. It's Shelley. I can see and hear you. Okay, good. You're like the only one here with us, Shelley. How you doing? You're the only one, girl. The only one. So I haven't called you back yet. But I just recently got my phone back. So I was going to call you after this, but hey, we might as well chat. We are going to, our plan was to talk about hexes tonight. And we probably will anyways, right, Grymm? Yeah. We'll just see where this goes. As you know, we kind of go with the flow. We are, we lovingly and jokingly refer to ourselves as ish witches because we do everything kind of ish. You know, we meet at 7-ish, not always right on the nose. We're just, that's just...
You've heard of hedge witch, kitchen witch?
Yeah, we're ish witches. Something that we made up ourselves because...
Well, it works.
It works for us, doesn't it? It really do. It really do.
I'm glad to see that I got the YouTube thingies set up right. I don't know. So we've got 4 viewers here right now. I do not have the pen.
Oh, phooey. Wow, we're really doing great tonight, aren't we? Speaking about hexes.
Right.
We like cursed ourselves. So, so yes, we're going to talk about hexing. And, I don't know if that's where we're going to start or if we're just going to keep trying to figure out what we're doing on this end. Is that what we're doing?
Yep, I'm finding out that others can see and hear us. But they cannot comment.
Okay, they can see and hear us, but they can't comment.
Yeah, and that's something to do with settings on the other side. And I don't know what those are right now. Ish, which is just hanging out.
Oh, it's Scratch. Cool. Hey! BP. Scratch. I love that. So, yeah, we'll just kind of sit here for a minute, right, and let people find their way. Mm-hmm. And...
You want to talk about the bus? I need some inspiration.
We can talk about the bus. I did get a little bit of a chuckle, just a bit ago. And that is, Susan had texted me and said that she woke up with this one certain song in her head. And I'm not going to divulge what song it was yet because we're actually going to use it the next time we do an update on the bus, like a live update on the bus. But it did make me think back to probably like, I don't know, a year ago or so, when one day we were sitting here on a live and all of a sudden, the song, The Yellow Submarine came through. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And I was like, somebody is supposed to contact me about The Yellow Submarine. And it was just funny. And there was a series of events that kind of unfolded after that. But I realized when Susan mentioned this song that, oh yeah, The Yellow Submarine. And guess what, Grymm? We're going to be living in a yellow land submarine very shortly.
Submarine. Well, that's what I wanted to ask, is what is a good... We're building a playlist for us to listen to while we're going down the road via YouTube or just downloads and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to think of our inaugural song. What song are we going to play as we roll out of town?
Well, I think Susan has that figured out, but...
The Yellow Submarine?
No.
No?
No.
All right, Susan, you can message us what that song is, and Gussy, whisper it in my ear. I want to see if we got it right, if we're connected that way. Oh. Yep, okay. All right, Susan.
That will at least be one of them. It might be the one we actually pull out of town with, right?
Yes, the one that we pull out of town with. When we put Port Townsend in the rearview mirror and we don't anticipate seeing it again for a while.
Right. I think that sounds like a plan.
Does it?
Yes.
Can we blast it through a really loud speaker system?
Do you think these guys want to know what song it is?
Yeah, Susan, what song is it do you think we should do?
I don't know if she said... I don't think she said she can comment.
Well, I've got her over here on Messenger. She's in the 7-ish group watching YouTube. So we're going to give her a second.
We're going to have to share a link to this song. I know which one it is, but I don't want to... Oh, that's a good one, too. The Long and Winding Road is a good one, too. The long and winding road.
Oh, that is a good one.
But the one that Susan was talking about is the theme from the Partridge Family. Now, if you don't remember that song, and I don't remember much of it, but she shared a little ditty from it, and I was just laughing because it does say, come on, get happy.
Get happy. Oh, for the choose happy.
Happy. Yeah, for I choose happy. Because I chose happy today. Did you choose happy?
I don't know if I really was presented with the need to choose. I think I woke up in a fairly decent, ready to go mood as it was. Mm-hmm. No, there was one point I started to go a little dark, and I just said, "Turn it around, Grymm."
Oh, that's a good one. Drive by the Cars.
Get out of my dreams.
Oh no, I just forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, because it was leading into our topic. Reconnect, Gussy. What were you going to say? Come on, you got this. Think. Oh, right. You were just talking about how you woke up in a fairly decent mood and just kind of, you weren't really presented with a reason to have to choose. Mm-hmm. I really wasn't either. I for a while, and then I decided to join a couple of my friends out there, my sisters, who contacted me today, because I usually try to check in with a few people every day. I've told you that before. And the people today, a couple of them, we talked about choosing happy. I choose happy. And so I was reminded about choosing happy. And so it kind of kept me focused there today.
That's
quite
cool.
a bit. I do have to tell you, though, it kind of leads into the story about hexing and cursing.
Yes.
Because I've been consulting. I've been kind of reading through one of the books that Grymm and I will consult from time to time, which I'm not going to... The name is not important. Well,
it's your it's our grimoire to an extent.
Yes.
It is a book, a tome.
It is.
To
It is. Yes, it is. It is.
in needs of advice.
It is. It is. And one of the things that I was thinking about today is during my 420 tarot. And by the way, we were going to talk about hexes before this happened. We really were. We were going to talk about hexes anyways, because it's kind of been sort of mingling around the outskirts of the Covenstead for the last couple of days, and then someone actually directly asked me this question about a hex today. So, but this happened. I was during my 420 tarot today. I got hijacked again by some people that were, there to try to steal away, private tarot card readings or whatever, while I was doing my live stream. I don't know how frequently this happens to other readers, but it seems to happen to me quite a bit. Today there were 3 of them, and typically, people that I love that kind of watch over me, they jump on those folks right away, and they don't get very far. But I realized today that I actually kind of cause my own, I don't even want, I hesitate to say I almost hex myself. And hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out.
You almost hex yourself.
Right.
Interesting.
A lot of magic that kind of stems from the African diaspora focuses on intent, like we talk about.
Right.
Right. And I'm just referring to my book here because this makes so much sense here. In contemporary Africa, roots of malevolent magic are perceived as stemming from unresolved anger, as well as the usual jealousy and envy. Right? Mm-hmm. The difference between one spell or the other is often nothing more than the practitioner's intent, but they might not actually go into that Facebook group with the intention to cause me any harm.
Right.
Their intention is just to draw
to themselves.
So their intention, if they're not intending to cause me any harm whatsoever, and here I am over here getting angry about it. I'm the one over here stewing away. And then what do? My defenses go up, and before you know it, I might be thwarting my own attempts at getting more readings. Or
you've bewitched yourself.
Right, because it isn't that they have hexed me necessarily.
Right.
It's that their intention had a side effect, but it wasn't their intention necessarily, but how I chose to respond to it turned it into a non-positive moment for me. And so that kind of leads into a little bit about what we were...
Well, it is. It is more than possible to, by the use of the word hex, to take on a hex that was never cast just by how you respond to the moment.
Exactly. Now, there are actual hexes out there. I mean, there are... no pun intended. But there are hexes out there that you can buy online. You can find books on how to curse and hex. You can... I'm sure you can Google it. I know that sometimes we unwittingly do it without even thinking, like, this is considered... it's considered a curse. Yeah, it's considered, and I don't mean that to any of you by any stretch, but I just saying there are symbols.
That is a curse, or
right. Not everyone involves, a big cauldron.
But that's funny because I have to say that same between Siege and I is something different.
Right.
So at that point, is it the symbol or the intent? And that goes to what you were saying. It's behind the intent of...
Right. Well, if you think about driving down the road and you cut some guy off, you don't even know you're cutting him off on the road, okay? He flips you off. He has the right to do that, right? Because he's just caused you potential harm, and you're himself potential, or you caused whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I know what you're saying.
In that moment, flipping you the bird, does he have the right to do that? Yes. Is his intention to really cause harm? No. But he's just throwing his anger at you. He is throwing his
right.
his
malice, his anger, yeah, you're right.
Right. Now, how you choose to interpret that is another thing. You might go,
Interpret
I'm really
it.
sorry. And receive it.
Okay.
Interpret and receive it. Did you know that there were times in for crying out loud, human history, that...
yes, Shelley, it is talking about creating our own reality in that regard. Times in human history.
There are times in human history where people would create curse tablets.
Okay.
And particularly in Roman times, and a lot of times archaeologists will find these curse tablets at the bottom of wells associated with like Jupiter or Saturn or whatnot. And the reason they typically were made of metal, because metal doesn't decompose quickly in the water, particularly lead, and it sinks. And you would suppose that writing a curse on a piece of lead or having it, carved into it and then sunk to the bottom of a deep well with the thought that if that curse tablet is never discovered, the curse will continue. Okay. So think of all the metal curse tablets that were thrown into wells that,
that's funny,
that have been filled in by dirt through the ages in the era.
It's funny, we use the word hex, and it wasn't until just recently that through, we've heard witch comes from, what was it, witcha, which, an English translation of other words, but the original word hex actually was, I think it was Old Germanic for a witch. Hex and witch, they meant the same, it was the same thing. Hex translated as witch.
Well, I know in the series Grymm, there are witches who are referred to as hexen beast. Right? Right, Mist?
Yes.
Hexen beast?
Hexen beast.
Hexen beast.
And that's basically a witch.
Well, she's a witch hybrid, but yeah.
Right. It wasn't until...
It's a TV series.
So anybody was basically... a hex was nothing more than a descriptor of a person, not necessarily something that has been cast.
So originally it was a word that meant... it was a noun.
Yes.
Well, it still is a noun.
Well, it still is.
But it's referring to a person.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it wasn't until, I can't remember the years, but it wasn't for many, many, many years until it was actually used as a means of casting magic, to cast a hex. It was basically to put somebody into a witched state. It was to bewitch someone. It was a hexing, bewitching. And so hex, really, is it a bad thing if you take it back to its original roots?
Wow, you just took me back somewhere. I was like literally seeing a forest. I was seeing a forest.
Poisoning your own well.
So hexen must have to do... well, sure it does. Like Germanically speaking, the old Black Forest area, or maybe Carpathian Mountains. No, farther south than that. So interesting. I'd love to see where I'd like to do a little more research on that word.
I would like to go to... Going back to the wells, the curse tablets, the cursing stones and things like that. I'd like to go and find these old wells that were dug 300, 400, 500 years ago that are now no longer in use.
Right.
Dig to the bottom of those and see what's down there. I know we'd find various myriad things, but I wonder what you could probably really trace the folklore, the mythology of peoples through that way.
I don't know how accurate this is or not, but I once read or heard somewhere that was actually one of the most common archaeological finds in old wells. are curse tablets. You could actually purchase, hire someone excuse me, what is wrong with my brain? You could hire someone to create a curse tablet for you. There were people that were professional, curse makers. But of course, if you had the ability to gain metal, sorry, I don't know why I'm stumbling over my words. If you had the ability to gain metal, it was pretty easy to, make your own indentation on it. So there were various forms, some of them professionally made, and some of them
crudely made.
Hex and brute. Thank you, Shelley. But
Archaeological finds.
yes, but some people just took stones. The Scottish people, I believe.
That goes back to the wishing well, though.
Yes,
Throwing
it does.
the coins into the wishing well was to bring good luck or bad luck on somebody that you were wishing
Right.
a curse upon.
Right.
You were buying that magic moment.
Right.
And before that, it was trinkets and precious things
Right.
to you, and then stones. So I get that now.
Now, onto a topic that has to do with hexes and curses.
Okay.
Something that you said earlier today that I kind of wanted to broach the topic on. And then I remembered what I wanted to talk about with hexes and the black boxes.
Okay.
Shadows. But don't let me forget. But earlier today, you had said, and it's an old thing that a lot of us will say, well, do you believe in hexes and curses? Well, if you don't believe in a hex or a curse, then it has no power over you.
Okay.
Right? You said
Right.
something about that. You have to believe in it first. So what are your thoughts on that? Or am I throwing you under the bus? Do you have thoughts?
Oh, I do. I really feel that whether a person believes in a hex or a curse or not, they're still affected by the intention behind the energy that was cast at them.
I agree, the same thing. Isn't that cool that we think the same way?
Well, damn it, we're melding.
But wait,
The effectiveness of the hex or curse at that point now becomes the responsibility of the one that received it. And they can, at that point, decide how aggressive that curse really is. Some will take it to heart and, oh my God, their life is falling apart. And every time I look at myself in the mirror, I'm going to see myself as an ugly person because Grymm cursed me. And that's true, if that's the belief that they put behind the energy that I cast.
right.
Or they can digest it, swallow it, find a way to reverse that energy and send it back.
Most people cast their own curses, and they don't
right.
even realize it.
True.
That's what I just talked about earlier. A lot of people receive information and miscalculate it,
Yeah.
and then we spend time being lamentful, guilty, angry, upset, because we've misinterpreted something, and we cause our own kind of cursed behavior, I guess, if you will. But I was thinking about this whole, if you don't believe in it, then it doesn't have power over you. It takes me back a little bit to that whole concept of just because you don't see ghosts doesn't mean that they're not there. And
Oh, I don't believe in the church, but it still affects my energy.
And I believe that once you are on your spiritual path and you've been walking this path long enough and you are awake and aware of the different energies around and abound, I think you become it's almost like an awakening. Like when you don't believe in hexes and curses, you might be kind of at a more naive stage of your development, if you will. And then you kind of become this more awake and aware person and say, oh, yes, of course. And it's not necessarily that people are out putting the evil eye on you in particular, but it's just the intention of people, their negative intention. If someone is jealous of you or they have, anger issues over you, or there's some kind of a distress between the two of you, even those little ripples and waves can cause distress and turbulence and can, if left unchecked, spiral into a really big issue. And
To where actual curses are being
that's right. But what about those actual curses? What if there are some? And I believe that there definitely can be.
You got a couple brewing in the freezer right now. There's been times that they've been brewing buried in the backyard for a cycle of moons. I fully believe in the power of curses and hexes. And I believe in the ability for a hex to be either a harm or a good.
That's right. And yes, that's true. That's true.
If I could cast a curse. Oh boy.
Are you thinking this through? Because words have power.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
I'm
Think
measuring
it through.
I'm thinking it through. So you think right now, because I'm trying. When I said a hex can be a good or a bad energy depending on the intent of the sender.
It's the intent of the sender and also how it's received. And some people take cursing really, really simply. Like, it can be something as simple as, words in my own head that I'm saying to you. I might slip something into your pocket. Not that I would. It can be something as simple as whispering words on the wind and sending them in your direction. Other people do things, take it on a real serious level. We're talking creating special powders and potions to go along with this malevolent energy. And being in the position that we are, I know that we've only got 5 people here with us now, but we've been on the receiving end of quite a few
negative energies cast our way.
Absolutely.
But we've also been on the receiving end of positive energies cast our way.
I know, but we're not talking about those tonight.
That's true. That's true.
These guys like talking about hexes.
I think that's right. I have to say that hexes are either a good or bad depending on the intent. If I know for a fact there is somebody doing harm against somebody else, intentional harm, my curse at that point both becomes a good and a bad thing. It's good for the person that I'm hoping to salvage from that abuse, and it's bad for the person that it's intended to be directed at. So to me it really is, you have to measure your desire to cast out hexes and curses based on the result of the parties all involved. You can't just flip off the driver of the car going by without first understanding. Did he first dodge a turtle that you didn't see?
Right. You have to, yeah. And if you're in the wrong, don't get angry back.
Right.
That is one of the largest mistakes that people make, is
Yeah.
when we're in the wrong, instead of just going, yes, I was wrong, we get defensive at first. We get mad at them for pointing out our error, our mistake. It's
but
quite a
in
human
all honesty,
thing.
in all honesty, I think if we were to really deeply, rootly analyze that, we're getting angry at ourselves and taking it out on the person that pointed it out.
Yes. Yes, you get mad at that person. Because what is it? Because they've seen a part of us that we don't want to see.
Yes, that's pretty much what it is.
Which brings to mind the thought I had about...
Look what we got here.
Well, I need to say this.
Okay, you say.
I was thinking about hexes just recently during a meditation, and I got this image in my head about if you could imagine those shadow boxes that we have on the shelf, right? Those shadows that we've been working through, that we keep taking down and opening more boxes and looking inside and feeling the feelings, and then moving on, knowing that we're getting, as we go through all these boxes, we're getting closer and closer to getting to the true core of who we are, and that's particularly important. But what I've come to find out is that some of these boxes, some of these shadow boxes, have been created out of my own self-defensiveness, and that in creating my own safety net, I sometimes create my own curse. I lock myself away.
Mm-hmm.
By being able to open these shadow boxes and taking a look at who your real core self is,
Mm-hmm.
you can break these bonds without any, anti-hex powder or anything like that.
You know, the easiest way to really, maybe not the easiest, I think the best way to get a hex broke. If I've hexed you, that means you've angered me. You've done something that causes me to go, you deserve retribution or punishment for what you've done. You've hurt me. So the easiest way to deal with the curse is to find out the cause of the curse.
Find out the cause of the curse. Find out where it stems from.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll bet we could have a bunch of people jump on here, people that practice conjure and root magic and such, voodoo and whatnot, that would definitely tell me that I'm full of shit, that I need to, do this or that to get rid of this kind of a hex or a curse. But I'm of the belief that once I'm made aware of something being upon me or my family or loved ones, that my magic and connection to the divine, my knowledge of how to handle it, is adequate. And I trust myself in being able to unwind whatever that is. And so Grymm and I have started to unwind recently those energies that no longer serve us. We've amped that up, and we encourage you to do the same. Since we are connected through energy and our own love that we have for one another, it's real easy for this stuff to spill over onto one another. And so as Grymm and I pull ourselves back into alignment, and are letting go a lot of this negative energy that has kind of followed us for a while now. One of our focuses is also on eliminating the familial or ancestral traumas and curses that have followed and plagued our family. And if you... Oh, I was just hearing something. Somebody was just about to say if you need proof of that, and they were just about to share a story, but I can't hear them now. Sorry about that. I just can't.
I'm trying to
Thoughts?
maintain the space here for you. Thoughts? No, I think one of the things that comes up in our life from time to time are these discussions about, okay, who, what, why are we having this moment in our life that doesn't feel good?
Right. Right.
And in those times, we do have to analyze, are there actions that we've undertaken here recently that would indicate a desire for somebody to hold something against us? And there you can start maybe unwinding the curse that way.
Yeah, but a lot of times you don't even... that's the insidiousness
Yeah,
behind
you don't know
it. You don't always
cut the fucker off at the last exit.
Well, yeah, and if it's something where you have harmed someone, especially, I'm sorry, but especially in the pagan world, it is nothing small to piss off a witch. I mean, or other pagan.
What do you say to a pissed off witch? Ribbit.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, the truth of the matter is, you don't always know it exists. Grymm and I work pretty steadfastly on keeping ourselves protected and our family and community protected. And I would say,
got drawings on our windows that make passerbyers go, "What the
yeah,
hell?"
I would say that, yeah, we need to change those sigils, by the way. I would say that that's something that we're constantly working on, but I know that it requires constantly changing because the energies are constantly shifting, and if nothing else, as people kind of move away from these events where things get mucked up and murky, our attitudes change because we have different perspective. So we don't want it to stay the same and just move down the line. But when you do have a hex or a curse, you can't always see that you have it going on. You have to look for the more subtle signs. And that's the real difficult part. because it can appear as depression. It can appear as financial ruin or lack of ability to just keep money flowing.
Oh, it could be any number of things. Persistent glitches in your technology. You know, I look at...
Where'd you get that one?
Where'd I get that one? Bad luck. I look... I know people who have chronic automobile problems even when they buy new cars.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I do too.
I know people that every time they get their hands on a new cell phone or a new piece of technology, within weeks they're pissed and the warranty's expiring next month. What am I going to do? Because it keeps breaking down.
Are they a witch? Because that happens a lot.
Yeah, right? So...
We have our way with technology.
Bad luck can be something that is inherited from a hex, not dealt with by ancestors.
Well, let's just think about this for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, let's just think about if there is an ancestor of yours from Rome, okay? And this ancestor got into some kind of an argument, big one. Say something big happened, right? And there were some curse stones written with his name on it, or her name on it in particular, and thrown in this well with the intention of, and these people believed in this at the time, remember? So their energy was higher.
Right.
The energy toward it was higher. It wasn't...
And on a whole, the connection to spirit, goddess, God, source, whatever, was
Right.
very strong.
Right. So they throw these curses into the well. I'm sure they didn't just plink them in. Okay. They throw them into the well. And that's held by, it's lead held by water. It's deep down in the cold, cold earth. It's dark. There's no light down there. I mean, there's all kinds of, anger. I mean, I know that the Scots used to hold, or maybe the Celts, one of those ancient tribes, used to hold stones and just shout at them, all their anger, and then throw them into the river. And that stone, that transference of energy, also that's usually how you break a jinx, but that's another story. But that is, you transfer it to the rock and then throw it in the water. Well, if you consider, that was probably a pretty common thing for how long? Mm-hmm. So that curse, that negative energy running through there, carries into your ancestor.
Especially if the intent of the curse was to cast you and all your generations.
And all your generations.
Which was not an uncommon thing, especially when you consider even in royalty, it wasn't uncommon for generations forth to be punished for the crime of the father. When it comes to cursing, why would that be any different?
Right. Oh, what a good topic. Boy, we could just go on and on about it. We could go on and on.
Let's see. Edie says it can just be the evil eye and not actually intending harm, but casting negative words and energies. Yelling is a curse.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true. Did he just walk your dark biz out into the light, Gussy?
Well, I was talking about the what's going on in the freezer and.
My dark biz always involves teaching a lesson. I don't usually ever really, because I'm gray, so I like to stay in balance. And to me, that doesn't mean I sometimes dabble over here in the darkness and sometimes dabble in the white. To me, that means I'm right in the middle. I will stay in the middle for the most part. And yeah, most of mine have to do with just teaching a lesson.
You got quiet there.
Seeing it from another
I'm sitting here
perspective.
watching you going, I'm just going to sit here on this one. And
Yeah, you got real quiet. Thanks,
I'm going to
you.
let her... Yeah.
That's another story for another day, my darlings.
Because I have to tell you this, Gussy. I do. And this comes from years of experience as a witch, living in and around different covens, off and on, only living in one, which is the one back in the day, but around spiritual people on and off most of my life. Many who call themselves witches and whatnot. And I've got to say, this life with you is the only home I've been in where one has to warn strangers if they open the freezer, don't eat that lemon. Or
You know that shriveled up lemon in the freezer that looks like...
Or the
don't
jar,
touch it.
The jar in the back of the refrigerator, on top of the refrigerator. This is the only home I've ever been in where that conversation has to be had.
I know. There's a jar with hair and honey in it right now. In the freezer. Don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
Let's see. Did he just... Yeah, okay. You can't always cast out your own because you can't always see it. That's from...
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't always see it. Like, it's a funny thing. I've always loved spicy food. Just do. Not too spicy. I'm not an 8 or a 9. I'm more like a 3.
You're a gray witch, so you're between 4 and 5, really.
Yeah, I'm a little bit
mild.
Right. And I, over the last while, really lost my taste for anything spicy. I could not eat anything spicy. It kind of killed me a little on the inside because I love spicy food. And
oh boy, you and a good well-spiced curry. Any kind of Indian food.
Yeah, I love spicy food.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to eat it for a while. Not that it makes me sick or anything, but it's too hot. I can't tolerate it. So I was like, oh God, I've heard older people, when you start to get older, you can't eat spicy foods anymore. That's probably my problem. But I realized just with the last week or so, I can't get enough spice in my food again. And I realized that that's been one of the areas that I've been affected in this last round of assaults, if you will, is that my taste for spicy food is coming back because I'm taking more control over this situation that I wasn't even aware of. Like, I was remotely aware of it, but I thought I had it under control. So just know that even when you have your guard out, you have your thing, I don't care how strong or good or practiced a witch you are going to have to keep those defenses constantly reinforced and updated. Just like you do on your computer, you clean the cache every once in a while, clean everything out, update. Norton does its thing.
You gotta wash your windows.
It's the same thing with your spiritual self. And curses and hexes are a part of that. They're part of that negative energy that Grymm and I are always talking about. Unwinding things which no longer serve. And I know that Edie was asking about the Jinx story. I just want you to know that I'm always uncrossing, uncircle. I witter shins all the time and then I re-protect. I reprotect. I just kind of do it within my daily rounds all the time. Obviously, even then, sometimes it still kind of ekes through here and there. Grymm and I, a couple of weeks ago, were having a problem with a hobgoblin in the house. No joke. And I hope you don't mind that I said that.
It wasn't a raccoon.
No, it wasn't a raccoon. So,
how it got into a closet, a water closet at that, just where the hot water heater is.
Well, the door was closed.
But the door was closed and boxes in front of it.
Yeah, well, that was just weird.
Yes,
we'll tell you guys that story sometime, too.
I want to tell this story, though, really quick. When we were discussing hexes and curses, it recalled me back to a story that I had read a while ago in researching a particular genre of magic.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to go into the depths of the genre and all that, but I want to say...
Wait, take me back. You were doing some research?
I was doing some research.
Okay.
On something. I honestly can't
remember. A genre of magic.
A genre of magic, and I don't recall which genre off the top of my head, but I do know what I stumbled into and really had to dig deep in my soul to see if it was acceptable for me to think that was good. And this is... Yeah. And and it falls in the lines of curses. You see, there was a tradition in some dark woods where the villagers didn't always get along with each other, and their methodology wasn't all of seeking vengeance wasn't always discreet in their curses and their hexing. And one of the ways that a villager could seek vengeance against his next door neighbor is to curse him by denying him food for future generations of family. Let's say you were caught hoarding food during a time of shortness in the community.
Yes.
The medicine man or woman, the one that held the magic of the tribe or the village at the time, would literally cast a curse denying your future generations the ability to easily obtain food. And how they would do it is by taking a fowl, a bird of some sort, raising it from birth, taking its first egg and letting it hatch that egg into a new generation. Take that generation, that new chick from the first generation that you raised, kill it, and then cast those pieces of now shredded baby chick onto an anthill. The ant disperses the curse into the ground, consumes the curse, recycles the curse back into the ground, forever recycling it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was always, if you want to do a generational thing. So people literally put a lot of effort, time, thought, energy, and knowing that this particular curse, it's going to take me this long, a full cycle of this, to even get the ingredients I need to make it work.
Right. Well, and I want to say, not to shortchange the ingredients that are needed in some breaking of curses and hexes. Sometimes I think ingredients are extremely important, especially kind of the higher up the magical ladder you go as far as who's casting this curse or hex. I think their potency might increase, and therefore your magic needs to balance that potency. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. If they're willing to, you have to be able to counteract what they're throwing at you.
Yeah, you can't just go, oh, pooh, I don't believe in that. But I think that, well, you can, but it doesn't always, it doesn't always work very effectively. But this kind of magic that we're talking about, you're right. I read the screen, didn't I? Okay. I don't know what I was saying, but I know that Edie had asked a question, and that's what kind of drew. She was asking about it's a full moon. Yes, it's still full moon energy. It's the crow moon. It's community. It's about community, and what a perfect time to kind of, because crows are all about communicating with each other. Let's break these curses and get on with the next best step. Right?
And actually, I was just thinking on the full moon, if I'm taking a rock and I'm screaming my anger into it, if I'm doing it underneath the dark moon, that's anger that I need to just give up on. Throw it away, get rid of it. If it's under the full moon, I think it's anger that needs to be resolved. Transformed, brought to light by those that are involved in the anger. Right. So maybe in that regards, you're not cursing.
Right. Well, so if we think about that, taking a stone, which I just have to say, we have actually conducted marriage ceremonies with an oathing stone. It's something that we kind of, and now other people are doing it. I don't know where we actually came up with it at first. We kind of made it up. Like, I know it was a thing that we downloaded or channeled or whatever from our ancestors, but the actual wording for it, we didn't know what the heck we were doing at first. So again, it was sort of like one of those channeled things that we used for a lot of weddings, and now I see these oathing stones popping up in different wedding ceremonies here and there, which
that's cool.
Is cool. And I'm not saying we were the only ones that thought of it, but I'm just saying we were out there, one of the first ones this time around. But in that case, we were using an oathing stone for the couple to pledge their love and commitment to one another in this stone. And then we have them either sign it, or some of them have chosen to
etchings done.
have etchings done. Some of them have used their own blood. Some of them have dripped wax on it. But when I think about taking this rock and throwing it into the water, you know, if I want my marriage to last forever, I guess that would be a good thing to do. But if I want some transformation, now water does transform, but so does land, so does earth. And so maybe if it's a transformation you seek and you're not trying to curse somebody, maybe you scream your anger and your frustration into this rock, and then you carve what you hope will be the resolution, or you write it or something on that rock and then bury it. That's a great idea. I love writing spells.
Well, that's what our wedding ceremonies that we would write, or hand fasting ceremonies, whatever, either way, they were very much customized for the couple. And if it was an oathing, regardless if it was an oathing stone or it was a hand fasting of a traditional sense or a regular wedding, we've always enabled the bride and groom to work their own magic into that.
Absolutely.
Because that's what trust and love is.
You know, not to sidetrack off that topic, but you were just talking about how much effort was put into thinking through a family curse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, not funny, haha, but ironic when I actually think about how in a lot of literature and movies now, but literature, there was frequently someone out to avenge their family's name.
You're right.
You know, and that essentially is speaking of going back and undoing the poor words, the bad words, the uh-oh, gonna sneeze.
Ah, phooey.
Okay.
Oh.
Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome, who's ever joining us.
Okay, Gussy. I know you
Hello
got
and
the
welcome.
three sneezes, and
Yes.
you got to do the hello and welcome. And I think
just did.
maybe it has something to do with, there's somebody here that has something to do with it. I just had a thought of in regards to really true traumatic family curses. Ancestral trauma of the most epic variety, really.
Do tell.
You're a descendant of true monsters. What if you are the descendant of somebody that has been branded by the times for their actions? You now carry that last name, that genetic memory of the actions of the person who committed the heinous crimes of murder or serial killing.
Absolutely.
Or atrocities against mankind.
It carries a mark. I think some families have tried to erase those marks by completely eliminating stories of certain family members. It's almost like if they never speak their name, they never existed, and they'll just go away and disappear. We all have, I believe, some black sheep in the family, some more than others. I'm really called. I hope Edie is still here, because I'm just seeing this whole thing about her traveling with us to Salem in Massachusetts. Edie, you got to get your bus. Or your camper.
Go on YouTube, look up Schoolie videos. That's Schoolie, Skoolie.
She probably already knows that one. But I don't know what I was saying there, but
You saw 80 going?
yeah, I saw it earlier today too, but there's a draw there. We all have family that we need to, I think, bring some stories to rest in our own hearts about members of our family.
Well, and that is really funny, because I look at your family, your growing up years, and the stories that you've told, both publicly and privately.
My private stories are something special, let
That's
me
right.
tell you.
Some of them are even hidden in the freezer right now, but that's a different story. The stories that you told about how you were taught traditional cunning folk magic never included where that came from. Where did your family learn it? Where did it come from? It was always just, here you go. This is how you do this.
This is just how it's done.
And it wasn't until your own research, many years into your adulthood, that you discovered a secret that really wasn't talked about in your family at all.
Oh, it really wasn't.
Even though it was written down in the Bible of your family's genealogy there. It was a family secret.
Yeah, truly. Still is, kind of. But, yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to, clearing some of those curses on our journey. I feel that simply by going to some of those locations and just releasing some of the energy, I'm not saying that, we're going to go, clear the field of Charlemagne's influence and negative energy, but I am saying that I feel that there is healing that can begin. We might not have all the ingredients we need, metaphorically speaking, but we have enough to get started with. And just like Edie was saying, sometimes we don't always know, but when you do have a feeling like you've just got some stuff going against you, it just seems out of the norm. It seems like maybe more than your fair share of bad luck. You've got to step back and just ask yourself, is this really just a stream of karma because I was a really shitty person in a past life? Or do I have some bad juju pointed in my direction? And either way, I think you can't do enough to protect yourself. I was going to say project yourself? That's weird. I think you need to do just that, because on your way to becoming a sovereign spiritual being and on your way to becoming your true self, you've got a lot of people that are going to be jealous of that, and they're going to be not understanding of why you're doing this, and they're going to be in their own way trying to hold you back. People don't do it on purpose necessarily. People that love us dearly sometimes sabotage us the most. A lot of it has to do with they just don't want us to change, because that means then they have to change too, and that's not okay.
Or if
they might
don't
not
change.
they might not be in the right, circuit yet. They're not there. They're not caught up with you. They're not doing the same work. So you might develop at different times, and they don't want you to go on past them. Right? It's not necessarily a conscious thing.
Well, that's just that. I think that's the saddest variety of being held back too. Loved ones that are unconsciously holding you back.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that you don't see.
Yeah. So
much.
I wish that Michelle Kwam was on here with us tonight, because she used to teach that class called The Artist Way. It was a big popular thing in the 90s. It was a book written, Julia Cameron maybe is the author, The Artist Way, and it was talking about sabotage. How people with the best of intentions sometimes try to do. Think about when you've tried to go on a diet, and I know we've all done it, okay? You go on a diet, and you're doing your darndest to, eat healthy and the right foods and make good choices, and, somebody brings home a cake. It's not going to kill you to just have a little sliver. Or maybe, they bring something into the house, and suddenly you have to make a choice, and it's really difficult because a lot of us are food addicted.
I like M&Ms, okay?
Well, and I've come to a conclusion about M&Ms.
What's that?
They're just healthy enough on the inside. See, I'm gray. They're the perfect gray witch.
You're talking about the peanut M&Ms.
The peanut M&Ms are the perfect gray witch snack. They got the chocolate coating on the outside, but the little healthy peanut on the inside, you can't beat it.
You know what would be good? Instead of peanuts, hazelnuts or cashews.
Ooh. Too expensive, though, and they're harvested.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
In cruel ways.
Yeah, you've enlightened me on that one. I watched a video not too long ago.
I do love cashews, though. Oh. So, guess what? A really popular herb to use in a hex is? Trivia.
Mugwort. What's your thing?
I'm thinking of a popular one. I want you to think.
Oh.
Well, mugwort is popular, but it's more for clairvoyance and protection. Think about things that you would put into something to hex. Think about things that would cause...
Let's see what they've got.
Because there's one that keeps popping into my head that I'm supposed to share with you guys. It can be a really good and resourceful little spice herb to have on hand, but it can also be a really great addition to a little bit of a... If you just wanted to kind of... Somebody in the... You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm going to see what they got to think on it. Maybe we will host...
Should I put my glasses back on?
Well, yeah, but I'm not sure what the delay is. We'll find out. Sabotage is the word of the day. That's one of my favorite
Edie said,
songs.
"Yay, let's go. Gotta bring the cousin." Okay, we'll have to talk about who the cousin is, but that sounds fun. And I'm actually serious about that, by the way.
You were saying that this afternoon to me before we went live. You said, I think Edie's going to be
A part of the journey. Yeah, I do. It became clear to me as I was kind of texting with her back and forth.
And just so
Sabotage
everybody...
is the word of the day today.
Sabotage.
I'm curious about that.
You know, it's funny you say Edie's going to be part of the journey, and I want to say...
She already is.
I would say Edie was part of our journey how many years ago?
Oh, Edie's been... We were just talking about that with Mist. A lot of you guys, Edie is joining us, but her name is Edith on here. She's a dear, dear sister and friend of ours from... early on in our relationship, and she has a young boy who's just a couple months older than Mist. So we were talking about they were womb mates. They were both in the womb at the same time, and we lived in the same house. So
energetically.
Yeah, I was telling Nevaeh, so at some point you probably met him, and she goes, "Oh, on an energetic level." I said, "Yes, probably so." She's a wise child. She's a wise child, so she can't wait to meet him sometime.
So do we got any guesses on what herb or spice was it?
I don't think so.
We'll give it a second here because I don't know what the delay is. How long it takes for the words to come from your mouth and into their ears.
Well, on that thing, I'm watching myself. I just talked about Mist.
Did you? How
Yep.
do you know?
So nobody's answering about the little addition. Maybe we should make it. Maybe I should make it a...
Edie says we got pregnant in that basement. That's right.
We did!
That's right.
That basement, yes.
You conceived in that basement, and then a couple months later, you move out, we move in, you got pregnant. It was them damn candles in that back bedroom that did it, I'm telling you. That's funny.
That's such a funny way to put it, but it's true. I'll always have a special place in my heart for that house.
Yes.
Forever and always. And the people that were in it.
Yep. I wanted to know...
That
You're
was...
not too... Was it last month? Not too long ago, I was thinking about... I wanted to say their names, but for privacy I won't. A couple of the folks that lived in the upstairs apartment up there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about how they've fared over the years.
Yeah. I'll bet you. I wonder if Edie knows. We'll have to ask her.
Yeah, we will.
Shelly, you are good. That's the answer. I wish I had something to send you, but it'd probably take 5 months because I forget to go to the post. But,
a lot of babies were made.
yeah, I bet so. But yes, cayenne pepper. For some reason, that's a great little spice to keep on hand.
Because it works both ways,
It can-
culinarily and magically, right?
Right, and magically speaking, it can be used in a couple of different ways. Of course, because it spices things up a little bit, you can add it into certain like foods if you want to kind of add a little love, spicy flavor to your night. But also, you can use it in hexes because of it. It also has an kind of an anti. What would you call it? It makes some people very unhappy in certain quantities.
Well, and that is a good thing about cayenne too, is it can be used for repellent and attractant.
It can.
It's a good gray magic.
It is.
It is. You're right.
Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle.
Done.
Done. All
What
right.
about the practice of, pouring chicken blood across your roof and letting it seep overnight and the fat of... Never mind.
Well, I tend to stay away from those kind of things.
Do you?
I tend to stay away from blood magic. Yeah, I do. I mean, there are times when I have used my own blood for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But I have never, and truly menstrual blood is great. Don't say ick until you try. And I'm not talking about consuming it. I'm talking about using it in spells.
Okay.
But I don't take blood from a creature like that unless it willingly, face to face, you and I are talking and you say yes please. I don't
And
work
you don't
magic
understand
like
chicken, so you'll never know if you got the right answer or not, would you?
that. Right.
You'll never get permission.
Oh, Shelley, brick dust.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you might be right about that. I wish she
Now-
needs a prize. She really does. She needs a prize.
Shelley, this is the
Maybe
fun
I should
thing.
send her some brick dust.
This brick dust, hand harvested by Grymm, by me, myself. These bricks were cast in 1879, used to construct a building here in Port Townsend, Washington, that stood and still stands to this day. A few years ago, I was honored to work on that building, historic preservation. I love that type of work. And as I do the masonry work, a lot of the bricks that we were rehabbing weren't completely rehabbed. They got powdered and jarred, and we've got lots of jars of brick dust.
Well, and the thing I love about this, Port Townsend, because we love history, Port Townsend used to have its own brick factory.
Yeah.
Now, I got to tell you the truth, the bricks were a piece of shite. Most of them didn't last well because it's too...
The bricks themselves weren't so much the problem. It was the mortar. They were using beach sand a lot of times to make the mortar out of.
I thought that the bricks themselves weren't... they were too loamy or they were too much clay. Which was it?
Depending on the financial status of the person building the home or the building, they had two grades of brick to choose from here in town from the Eisenbeiss plant. One of them was a high-grade brick that when you run across that, it's there forever. But there was another grade of brick that was intentionally designed to fail.
Which is why the Eisenbeiss, the Cracker Building, looks so good on the outside still. Got you.
There were bricks that were designed to fail because there were business interests that knew that they'd want that lot later on.
Bricks designed to fail.
Yes.
I see.
So it was...
These are the stories that they don't want told down at the
local
museum. Yeah.
Yep. But no, I love the idea when I'm doing these buildings in the brick dust. What I envision is those bricks, and I always use exterior bricks when I'm doing the brick dust for two reasons. One is I'm usually replacing them with a brick from the inside of the wall because it's beyond repair. But those exterior bricks have seen the cycle.
The success and failure.
The
ups and downs.
Of this town.
Right.
And how many full moons, dark moons, crescent moons, waning moons, waxing moons, how many high tides, low tides, how much energy.
How many Shanghais. Oh, you guys really got to come visit Port Townsend sometime.
Yeah. But I love the bricks that I harvest myself for this type of thing because I feel that the stories built into the powder contributes to the magic that's released when we use it.
Yeah, I agree.
Brick dust and cayenne pepper.
Yeah, it makes what Shelley says makes creepers hotfoot if out of your face. Yeah, the thing is about anything that you do, if you create a powder, like she's talking about, keeping out of your face because you got to blow it, but you don't want to blow it in somebody's eyes. That's never good. And particularly sometimes if you get into messing around with powders, potions, lotions, you can get them on yourself by accident. And if you've just cast a curse, your words have just come out, and then you accidentally spill some of this on yourself. What do? What do? You don't panic. That's the first thing. Don't panic. Don't panic. Are you panicked right now?
No, I was just thinking because I've never thought about time releasing my spells before. You just made me think that,
Well,
could you do it? You probably could do a time release or program your spells like a computer program, if then.
I never thought about that either. But what I have done in the past, Rosemary is a great reverser of certain words cast, and so I have not that I've ever done anything like this. What I would do is I would use rosemary to kind of clear the area. If it was powder or oil or whatever, if it was oil, I would find an essential oil to counteract it. I would brush, scrub, reverse as much as possible. And there are other things you can do, but wait 24 hours. Let the words kind of ride. Don't use the powder or lotion or anything for the next 24 hours and see how you feel. You can always rework the spell, add some new words to it, update it, and kind of reverse what you did. But first of all, don't panic, but do some action right away to kind of undo what you just did.
That's the same premise behind throwing salt over your shoulder.
Exactly, it is.
You spill the salt, and that is what I was just, as you were talking about rosemary and the different ways that it could be used, it put me in the kitchen. Because there are times that our foods incorporate different things based on what we feel is being sent our way or what we want to receive. And rosemary is one of those things that we do incorporate for magical intention into our cooking.
It is. We're going to talk about more of that too.
Yep.
There's a couple of key ingredients if you ever come to visit. And we have stew. There are a couple of key ingredients that you'll find in our stew.
Yep.
On purpose. Almost every time. Anyways, I guess we should probably go.
Yeah, I just looked we've been on this going for an hour and a half.
Wow, it's a long time.
Yes, it is.
And this is kind of our first, foray into the YouTube thing.
Yep.
We got 6 people.
We do have 6 people. And there is a way now for me to probably share this to our Gussy and Grymm page for people to be able to digest. But please spread the word around that we are now streaming from from YouTube.
We're hoping to
more frequently now.
We're hoping to kind of quell those weird instances of people trying to jump in and hijack things.
Yep.
For no other reason than the energy is just not right. It's just not right, and so there you go. Yeah. Shall we say stay magical?
Just a second. I'm doing stuffs right here first.
I think I saw that Edie said Louis still lives in the house.
Yeah, I did see that. That would indicate that the other does not.
I'd like to see Louis. Hell of an artist.
Yes. Stay magical.
Stay magical, everybody. Love you all.
I love cranberry juice.
I don't blame you.
We invite you to take part in a witchy spiritual journey with us.
Join us on our adventure across the country as we uncover the twisted tales of generational hauntings, community shadows, and family curses bound to the land. We are just 2 witchy folks committed to spiritual growth with an evolving group of fellow coven members who also love to help the community and give back to the land. We're in process of moving out of our house and into our bus-turned witchy caravan. Soon we'll start our journey family curses bound to the land. We are just 2 witchy folks committed to spiritual growth with an evolving group of